This week's episode is brought to you by Safe Future Financial. All you need to know about retirement.
Welcome to Money Talks with Joe Uppleger, where we talk about getting your money right and also giving you the tools you need to have more control over your financial future. Consumer advocate Bruce Rosenblum here with you, and I am here, of course, with the man himself, the man who talks to Michigan on a weekly basis about money, the president and CEO of Safe Future Financial, published author, 25 years in the biz, Mr. Joe Uppleger. Joe, it's great to be back with you again.
Bruce, here we are again. Let's do this.
We are again.
Lots to talk about today.
Boy, absolutely. You know, we talked a lot about risk in the last show, and that got me actually thinking a little bit. I mean, who out there has the most risk? Who has to make plans that really account for these chronic high-risk scenarios? Soldiers. It's a stressful job. I was in the Army a while back, and there's a lot of things that carry over from Army life into financial planning, specifically the principles of patrolling. So I was thinking we could talk about these principles and how they can help all of our retirement plans stay Army strong. How about it?
Hey, let's hear them.
Okay. The first principle of patrolling. Now, of course, patrolling, the field manuals define this. Let me get the definition here for our viewers out here. FM 7-8 defines patrolling as missions to gather information or to conduct combat operations. So you're out there with rifles and soldiers trying to get things done here. The principles behind this. Number one is planning. You got to have a thorough, flexible plan that accounts for everything with clear objectives, routes, and all that kind of stuff, and also auxiliary plans, backup options. And I think this really speaks to the way that you work in the financial planning realm.
Yeah, I mean, they're in finance, getting close to retirement. You're kind of like those guys. They're just trying to survive, right?
Just trying to make it back inside the wire. Yes.
What happens if a soldier in war times doesn't plan, doesn't have something in place?
That's right.
What's the end all?
That's right.
They get shot. During retirement, we don't want to get shot.
No.
We want to have a plan. We want to have an idea of, hey, are we going in the right direction or not? Or are we going to get ambushed?
That's right.
Meaning, maybe the volatility ambushes us and,
yes,
it takes a huge whack at our portfolio. So it's amazing on how all these life situations, even relating to the military and stuff like that, actually can relate to our retirement planning.
If you don't prepare to plan, you plan to fail. That's the bottom line.
Fail.
I messed up that quote right there, but it is true. You're
human. You're human. I mean, we're talking about a lot of stuff on this show, and you're bringing up some stuff that is very important. And I think our listeners are real people just like us. And,
without a doubt.
We have a lot of soldiers out there.
We do.
We
got our veterans viewers, yes.
Yes, and if it wasn't for those guys, we wouldn't be free today.
Absolutely.
So at the same time, a lot of this stuff is relatable.
Sure, absolutely. It's about making sure you have that roadmap.
And a proper plan.
That's it.
They got an escape plan.
Sure.
If things go south, you want to make sure you got a plan to get out.
That's it.
And it's a lot of common things here between money and military, as far as those guys.
I'd say so. And with that in mind, let's talk about the next principle of patrolling. Planning was number one. Number two is reconnaissance, gathering intel on the terrain, the enemy presence, civilian factors before you head outside the wire. This is very important, and I guess it carries over into the finance world because you want to research an investment before you actually put your money up there on the table, don't you?
Yeah, and there's, first of all, we got to figure out what kind of risk you're willing to take.
That's a good point.
If you're a conservative guy, maybe we should be in a conservative portfolio.
Okay.
If your risk of loss is little to none, we got to put you into a financial plan that has little to none risk, right?
Right.
And if you're a very aggressive guy and I can't talk you out of that, then hey, let's make some wise decisions and quick pivot between investments to make sure we stay on top.
Okay. So think about your risk tolerance, what you're willing to accept and not accept, and then craft your plan around that so that if you're going to maybe lose money, you'll be okay with that. Or if you're not okay with losing it all, you won't lose it all. Like my mom. My mom doesn't want to lose a cent. That's why she's very conservative. She loves the CDs. She goes to the bank and she invests that way, and she loses money safely, but she doesn't really lose anything when you think about it.
Have you ever heard of the rule of 100?
Refresh my memory, because I heard that from somebody the other day.
You know, the rule of 100, if you take your age, minus it from 100.
Okay.
So let's say I'm 60 years old,
Yes.
which I'm not, and we subtract, basically 60% of our money should be on the safe side of our investment lineup.
Okay, 60%.
You know, so as we get older, we're weaning off of risk, right?
Right.
So when you're younger,
Yeah.
you can afford to take more risk because you got the time to kind of get it back.
Right,
But
right.
when you get a little bit older, we get closer to retirement, we need to start weaning off of risk.
That's right.
You know, so the rule of 100, take your age, subtract it from 100, and that percentage of assets should be somewhere safe.
Okay.
Somewhere safe. Still obviously getting some interest because we need interest to survive in retirement.
Right.
But at the same time, we're just not taking a lot of high risk with our retirement plan.
Sure. This makes sense to me because it's all rooted in risk management. And I'm a big fan of risk management because I believe in keeping people safe and making sure you don't lose anything to negligence. That's a horrible way to lose things. And that's what I love about what you do, Joe. Joe, you make sure that your plans have that risk management piece in place. So if you out there want to make sure that you're not risking anything unnecessarily, that you have the tools in place to mitigate that risk, call the number on the screen to connect with Joe and the team at Safe Future Financial. It's a no-cost, no-obligation financial review, and I believe you get a free copy of the book here, which I've been talking about.
And not only that, a risk analysis report.
Yes.
Get to know exactly where you're at so you know where you can reach your goals according to plan. Keep in mind that a lot of risk analysis we do run for clients, when we sit down and we sit next to each other and we go through the reports,
Yes.
it's surprising to actually see someone that had no idea that they were paying a certain amount of fees on certain investments.
Yeah.
They're actually losing on some of their investments, but yet there's been no changes made to these current investment lineup. You know, so let's identify a problem before it starts. Let's keep it on track and let's adjust, let's pivot. And keep in mind, guys, that nobody wants to lose money, but it is part of investing. You know, we got to have our proper buckets in place.
Sure.
We got to be diversified. But if you're not a risky guy, don't take as many risks. If you're an aggressive guy, I'm going to talk you back just a little bit because, you know, it's all about making sure you have enough money to retire on.
Exactly. That's what a good patrol leader does. And that brings us to our next principle of patrolling. We talked about planning and reconnaissance. The next one is security. You want to have 360-degree security at all times so you don't get caught off guard.
Yes.
And I think that speaks actually to diversifying your portfolio, because if you don't diversify, if you put all your eggs in one basket and something happens to the market, you're in a bad spot. You're in a real bad spot.
You know the old saying, if you don't want to lose money, don't put it where it can be lost, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and security, you know, part of having security is having proper information.
Yes.
You know, proper
Yes.
information. And how can we see where we're at? How can we see if our portfolio is safe? You know, we want to make the money, but we don't want to lose the money. So we got a certain amount of assets where we can take risk with, as long as we do it smart.
Absolutely.
But then there's a certain portfolio where we can guarantee growth in good times, but make sure that we have a floor, a safety net underneath our investments in that particular bucket to make sure we don't lose. And then an income plan.
Yes.
You know, obviously, we need cash flow in retirement in order to survive.
Yep.
And then, of course, we have that nest egg where we've been kind of setting aside money and keeping it liquid. It's our emergency fund. It's our feel good at night before we go to bed fund.
Yep.
And not only that, it's just smart.
That's right.
It's just smart.
These emergency funds, these annuities, these insurance policies, These are the 360-degree security around your financial plan that make sure you do not lose. And that's why it's critical to have these things in place so that you have that peace of mind, so that nothing hurts you when you go outside the wire. Because it is a dangerous world these days. People want to take your money from you. God, life wants to really sock it to you these days.
You know, Bruce, you mentioned annuities a couple times, and I think it's important. There are good annuities, and there's annuities that are not so popular. So the annuities that I feel that offer the growth without the risk, those are the index annuities, the fixed annuities. And how that works is, let's say we compare this to a 401k. We take $100 grand in a 401k.
Okay.
When you put your money in your investment lineup, they take your money and they invest it into different mutual funds, positions,
yes.
whatever it may be. When those investments grow, your money grows. When they lose money, you lose money.
Right.
Now the difference is that we take that same amount of money, we put it into an index annuity. The difference is the annuity company basically just holds on to our money.
Okay.
They don't actually take it and invest it into different indexes that create interest for your accounts.
Right, right.
The actual insurance company is actually going to take the risk. So, hey,
I like that.
if the market goes up 10%, you might make between 8 and 9%. But yet, if the market loses 10%, remember, you don't lose a penny.
Sure.
They're willing to take the risk to keep your portfolio safe. And, you know, we've averaged probably over the last 10 years, probably anywhere from like 6 to 15%, depending on what financial vehicle that you're in. That's, remember, a 10-year average.
Right.
And some of these annuities will actually give you a great push forward and offer a great signing bonus. And they're with good A+ rated carriers, and they do allow you to withdraw money on a yearly basis to, you know, spend your money during retirement or whatever. But when we look at different buckets of money, a lot of people look at annuities for one of those buckets, whether it's to guarantee income or just to protect capital with growth.
That's right. I remember when somebody explained the concept of an annuity to me for the first time.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, wow, it's guaranteed income under certain conditions. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But I know people out there have questions about these types of investment vehicles. And if they have questions or concerns, they can certainly get in touch with you, can't they?
Yes, they can. And I'm happy to run any kind of report that I need to run. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And keep in mind that, back to the annuity thing, these are state-regulated investments with the index annuities and the fixed index annuities. So your money's safe. You know, the state of Michigan and other states as well, they're going to make sure that these financial institutions have enough money in a liquid account set aside to honor every dollar invested. In the history of these index annuities, no one has ever lost a penny. And keep in mind that your money's as safe as the financial strength of the company. But if you work with a good advisor, we'll keep you with a good A+ rated carrier. And I tell you, call me on the number today. I'd love to put a free report together for you. And by taking the time to do so, I'll also give you a copy of my book.
More petroleum principles when we come back on Money Talks.
Do you know how much you're paying in fees or commissions with your current plan or advisor? What about unnecessary risk or future tax implications? Sit down with a fiduciary advisor who can help you understand important retirement concepts, and so you can make the best decisions for yourself moving forward. We may even be able to answer questions you didn't even know needed to be asked.
Did you know that according to recent studies, over 60% of Americans fear of running out of money more than they fear death? That's a staggering statistic that doesn't have to be in your reality. Hey, I'm Joe Uppleger with Safe Future Financial. My team specializes in creating custom retirement plans that address the biggest financial risk your retirement faces, including inflation, taxes, market volatility. When you schedule your free consultation, you'll get a detailed analysis of your retirement savings and potential tax risk, strategies to create a reliable income that lasts a lifetime, and insights on how you can reduce fees, taxes that could be eating away at your wealth. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Call now and receive your complimentary risk analysis report and get the facts about your financial future.
Do you hear that? That's me enjoying my retirement. Traveling around the world to play golf, where I want, when I want, with whomever I want. Even got some customized clubs. Because years ago, I rolled over my IRA with the help of a local trusted advisor. Contact us to get started today. This is a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review to help educate and enlighten.
Back at it on Money Talks with Joe Uppleger, consumer advocate Bruce Rosenblum, also here with you. We are talking about the principles of patrolling, Army style, and how they relate to financial planning. And shout out to all of our veterans out there who really know these front to back, because I know a lot of our viewers out there have served, and we do appreciate you out there.
Yeah, we have Memorial Day coming up here.
Indeed.
It's a great time in our history where we get to celebrate and honor our veterans. So.
That's right. Got to support the people that have supported us. It is critical. And with that in mind, let's get right into these principles right here, because we mentioned that planning, reconnaissance, and security are the first three. You got to make sure that you plan for the end result, make sure you gather the right intel, and also have 360-degree security at all times when you are outside the wire. This relates to the financial world as well, because you got to protect your money, you got to manage your risk, and have a goal in mind for your retirement. Isn't that right, Joe?
It is. It kind of goes back to what we talk about a lot on our show, having a plan in place.
That's it.
You know, and hey guys, if you want to have a good retirement, you got to have a good plan. Mm-hmm. You know, and it doesn't happen by mistake. It takes work. It takes work. It takes a little effort.
That's the truth.
And it takes a lot of communication.
That's right. And that communication, that piece of the puzzle, really plays into this fourth principle of patrolling. It's control. Because when you're out there outside the wire and you've got people around you, you got to have clear leadership. You have to have checkpoints and communication to make sure everybody is coordinated, because things can get really disjointed if there is not some kind of guiding beacon at the center of the formation who can bring everybody together and maneuver the right way. And I think that speaks to the fact that a good advisor can really show you what you need to do to maximize your money, because every dollar has a job.
Every dollar has a job. And how do you maximize your money, right?
Yeah.
It's knowing what you got to work with.
Ah, yes.
Where's it invested? How's it working?
Yeah.
You know, how risky are your investments? If something went wrong today, are you properly diversified? Are you getting phone calls from your advisor saying, hey, you know, the same plan you had a while back isn't good for you now. We need to just make a couple little adjustments to your financial plan just to make sure you stay on track. And most of the time when I do gain a new client, it's from an advisor that is not making adjustments to their current plan. It's someone that is allowing them basically to go from a certain size portfolio, and when the market gets volatile, they're losing money, but they're not recommending changes. They're not making, and keep in mind that what if that advisor did, hey, I'm going to change your portfolio up. We're going to talk about maybe going to cash when times are bad. Or, you know, hey, maybe we should take some of the money you have in your portfolio and place it into different buckets in our plan to make sure we're diversified properly.
Ooh. I like how you give people options with this stuff.
Yes.
Because I needed that a while back. A while back I had a stagnant kind of IRA deal, and I would get a letter from Fidelity every now and then that would explain things to me. But did I really have control over that stuff? No, I was just letting it go to pot. And that's the wrong approach for your finances, and it's the wrong approach for a patrol too. You got to always have eyes on what's important, know your assets so you can manage them effectively, and also have that clear, consistent communication. And you follow up with so many people on a daily basis about their plans, don't you?
Yeah, you know, I do. And you know, when you get a letter from a company, it's like, okay, what is this? It's not a statement here. Let's throw it in the throw it in the can, or throw it in that pile of paperwork that we have on our counter or whatnot. But at the same time, I think it's important that we have things that go in the right way all the time. And every time we wake up out of bed, we flip on the TV and we see our news. The first thought is, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? Is it time for me to make adjustments?
Yeah.
We all have the market on our phones. If we're investing into the market, a lot of us keep a close eye on it.
Sure.
But are we actually getting good advice on that?
That's right, absolutely. That's why it's critical to always talk to your financial planner. Just keep up with it. Don't let the cobwebs form in the rafters. We know how that goes. It gets gross up there, and then eventually you got to clean it out. No, you want to stay consistent with your cleaning, stay consistent with these things. And if you don't have an advisor, or the one you have right now is not doing these things, it's time to change it up. We're going to put the number on the screen right now. If you call, you get a no-cost, no-obligation financial review, and of course you get a copy of Joe's fabulous book,
Anchoring Your Retirement.
Anchoring Your Retirement.
Bruce, along with the risk analysis report, be able to meet with me or one of my teammates and actually say, hey, this is where I'm at today.
Yep.
Here's what needs to be adjusted. And, hey, it doesn't hurt, and I'm providing all this information at no cost.
That's right. It just makes sense. And this brings us to the final principle of patrolling. We talked about planning, reconnaissance, security, control. The last one is common sense. Don't do anything stupid out there. If it seems stupid, it probably is. And if you got any doubts in your mind, talk to somebody about it. Get some help. Don't be so prideful. Don't have such big of an ego that you cannot talk to somebody and say, hey man, what do you think about this? And I think the same is true for your money, because there have been a lot of bad investment decisions being made at high levels and low levels too. We can all make mistakes.
Common sense. I think a lot of us get so busy in our daily lives. We're busy. We go to work all day. When we get out of work, we got to do this, we got to do that, and so we keep on putting our planning off to the side. And hey, take a minute, call the number below. Let's get a financial risk analysis put together for you. Let my team take a look at your estate plan, your tax consequences at retirement.
Yes.
Do you have an income plan put together? Do you know how much you're going to need as far as monthly cash flow in retirement? And do you have a plan to make sure that it's there? Let's put a plan together. Common sense means, hey, I'm taking what I got and I'm making the best of it. And of course, common sense, nobody wants to lose money.
Right.
But, kind of in everybody's defense, we are busy in our lives.
Of course.
Things happen. You need a good guy on your team to actually kind of reach out to you and, make some common sense decisions on making a plan.
Right. And this has me thinking about younger investors who just want to get rich really fast. And because they want that quick fix, they really want to cash out and ball out of control here, they're willing to take some very risky moves, trading stock options, trading crypto, just dumping their life savings into these coins or these options, hoping beyond hope that it's going to pay out for them. But does that make a whole lot of sense in the long term? No.
For some it may. Who knows, right? But I think that everybody wants the same thing. We all want to make money, but we don't want to lose money. And I think, we talked about the different buckets of money, keeping diversified.
Yes.
Hey, let's take risk with the proper portion of money. So if you want to invest in crypto, you want to invest in some risky options in the stock market, hey, just do it with a proper portion of money and get some quality advice. Do a little research before you do that, but then have your steady investments off to the side, knowing that they're always working for you.
Love that. So, again, to recap, make sure you plan. When it comes to patrolling, you got to plan, have that end state in mind with your money, know where you're going. That way we can help you get there. Recon, scope things out. Understand the financial playing field so you can make an informed decision. Security, have diversification in your portfolio so you are protected from all sides. Also, control, know your assets, know what's out there, and make sure you're following up on them so you can manage them effectively. And also, common sense, do not fall for any kind of crazy get-rich-quick schemes. Don't go to Vegas and bet it all on black. It might feel good in the moment, but that's your nest egg.
One thing, Bruce, that I hate to interrupt, but There's a lot of things going on right now, other than money. It's about getting text messages on your phone saying that you owe money for tolls.
This happened to me the other day, twice actually.
Yes. And I was visiting with a very good client of mine. He's an older gentleman, and he relies a lot on me. He got some kind of crazy phone call saying that his grandson was going to be in prison and going straight to jail unless he came up with $5,000 to pay. There's so many scams going on. There's so much stuff going on right now that, hey guys, before you reach into your pocket, you pay any of these ridiculous things that are going on. If you get some crazy text on your phone, if you get some kind of crazy phone call, keep in mind that before you do anything, let's check around. Let's talk to some people that we know and we trust. And let's verify this, because our seniors and our people of our country are getting scammed on a daily basis. And hey, when it comes to common sense, like we talked about a minute ago, keep in mind that no one's going to just text you and say, hey, you owe me money.
That's right.
Yeah. If you don't get a letter in the mail, you don't have a phone number to call, you don't have a way to communicate, more than likely, if you think it's a scam, it probably is a scam. As people get older, closer to retirement, it seems like scams just keep on. Older people get attacked by this stuff. They seem more vulnerable.
It is a tragedy that these scammers target older folks.
So have common sense.
Yes, and now we're talking about applied knowledge here, applying these principles to be successful and making smart moves with your money. And with that in mind, I think we all need to think about getting real with our expenses, because a lot of us don't understand that it's going to cost some money to take it to the house. It's going to cost some money to maintain your current lifestyle. And if you're not thinking about that, then your plan is not going to be built appropriately. And I know you have to do some course corrections on certain plans to make sure that people's lifestyles don't have any kind of abrupt breaks or jars. Yeah,
not only that, it's a matter of making sure we have enough money for retirement, right? We're working. We get a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks or whatever that may be. We got cash flow.
Sure.
So when, a lot of people retire, hey, I got this 401k and that's going to be my paycheck at retirement.
Yes.
And when things don't go according to plan, it ruins your plan. We can identify the weak spots and actually, identify the strong points and maybe juggle some funds around to make sure you're succeeding.
Ooh, love that. If you want to make sure your plan is on track, we're going to put the number on the screen right now before we wrap for the day. Again, calling this number will get you that no-cost, no-obligation financial review. You're going to sit down with Joe and the team. He's going to do a full analysis on all of your assets and give you that clear, actionable plan to follow. And I think we could all do more of, I'll have more guidance these days, huh?
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt to get knowledge, and it doesn't hurt to have a plan. And I tell you, by taking just a minute, giving my team a call, putting this plan together for you, we'll help you manage your 401k. My team will actually give you quarterly advice at no cost, and give me a call today.
Ooh, love that. Joe, what a great show. I feel a bit more knowledgeable now, and we can tackle all these challenges together now. I appreciate it.
Well, hey, we'll see you next time.